yes, a phenomenon. And basically, it impacts a large population of people. The research suggests that women are impacted by it the most. But I'm going to be honest, there are some men who suffer from imposter syndrome and they're just not willing to admit it. Most women, not all, are very vocal, very expressive. So, as we dive into this definition, the other part that I think is really, really key is that when you feel like you're a fraud, despite your achievements, you feel like somebody's going to expose you and say you're not who you say you are. So, tonight, we're going to dive into this topic. We're going to explore some strategies for overcoming it. If you are here with me tonight, please type in the chat. Where are you streaming in from? I want to know where my audience is actually coming from. So, when we talk about fighting imposter syndrome, kind of got my gloves in the right position. I've been working out with a personal trainer, and when I come in there, sometimes I'm stressed. And sometimes we put on the boxing gloves. And I'm not a, fitness enthusiast. So I just really do what he tells me to do. And sometimes he has me do a right and a left and a right and a left. And some days he doesn't realize I am carrying so much weight. He has me do something that's like this, where he has his hands on the top, right? And I'm doing this. But some days, the weight that I am carrying is so heavy that I'm just like this. And I want you to remember that. And I want you to put your virtual boxing gloves on because it's time to go to war. So, the first step is you got to recognize that you're suffering from imposter syndrome. So, I'm going to go over 10 key indications that you're suffering from imposter syndrome. And when I walk down your street, when I walk down your block, your neighborhood, Tennessee, Sacramento, when I stop by you, don't be afraid to drop the number in the chat, the order that I'm going to list them in. So the first person that's suffering from imposter syndrome is the perfectionist. And the perfectionist likes everything to be flawless. And anytime they make a mistake, they see it as if they're incompetent. And you're going to hear me say over the next couple of days, the next couple of weeks, you're going to hear me talk about my own personal journey where I've had to fight others who basically were suffering from imposter syndrome and they tried to put that stuff on me. But if you have not heard me speak before, let me tell you something about me. I wake up every day with my boxing gloves on because I've been through a lot and I am not going to let anybody take me down. My husband, who is a TV enthusiast, he watches the boxing. He says, you gotta guard your grill. That means your mouth, and then put your knuckles up. And so that's what you gotta do because people, unfortunately, are suffering from some things, and they put those things on you. So you need to serve notice on them today that they can no longer put the things on you. If people can no longer put the things on you, I want you to type a 0 in the chat because we're starting from ground zero. I am no longer going to allow people to put the things on me. And if I was in the chat, I would type my own 0 because I got some people who are literally, I don't know if they wake up trying to take me out. But again, I'm ready. I got my boxing gloves on, and you better watch out. My grandfather is 102 years old. So that means I got a strong foundation and I'm ready to fight. So, number one was the perfectionist. Number two is the person who denies their expertise. Like they literally downplay their knowledge, their skills, their talents, abilities, believing that others around them know more when they actually know more. So, as I'm going through these now, we started from ground zero where we said, we're not taking this anymore. So, if you are the perfectionist, type a 1 in the chat. If you are the individual that denies your expertise, type a 2 in the chat. So, now number three. Number three is the superwoman, superman, super person. That person is just struggling with balancing multiple roles, and they just flat out feel inadequate in all of them. If that's you, I want you to drop a 3 in the chat. Now, next, we got the soloist. Not like a singer soloist, but the concept is the same. A soloist is a person who is singing a song by themselves and there's no one else around. So the soloist feels like you have to do everything on your own without asking for help or support. Now, I am the person that will tell everybody that I need help with something. And recently, this attorney in my community, attorney Shakita Jackson Hall, she told me, you need to read the book, Who Not How. And that was a game changer for me because while I'm not a soloist, I can be a soloist, but I'd rather have a choir behind me. I'd rather have a community behind me. So if you're number 4, drop a 4 in the chat. So the next one is the overachiever. Now, this person is constantly setting the bar high for themselves and then always feeling like they're not doing enough. If you're the overachiever, drop a 5 in the chat. Now, number 6, this is a person who I don't know, seem to be attracted to. But number 6 is the comparison trap. Now, this person, this is what they do. They compare themselves to others and they feel inferior. They feel unworthy based on their achievements. And I personally cannot wrap my head around that because you should be in constant competition with yourself. The things that you achieve are for you. They're not for everybody else. The next person is the discounter. And the discounter, they believe, I'm just lucky. There was some external factor that caused me to achieve this success. So they discount their success. So far, we've gone over 7 characteristics. Let's do a couple of more. So now, the fearful fraud. That's the person who's constantly living in fear and feeling like they're going to be found out. When in actuality, they're the talent. They're the person that's in the room that's the most knowledgeable, has the most expertise. And I'm not talking about education. There is this misconception, and I wrote a LinkedIn article about it. There's this misconception that people who have, the advanced degrees surely must know more than everyone else. And that is absolutely not true. So now we're going to go to number 9, And if you're number 8, drop an 8 in the chat. Number 9 is the attention avoider. This person is like this. I don't want anybody to know that I'm here. I'm going to just, stay off to the side and hopefully nobody sees me. And so they shy away from recognition, compliments, and they're like, yeah, I don't deserve them. If you're number 9, drop a 9 in the chat. Then we got the persistent doubter. This is the person that second guesses every decision. And then they're constantly asking others for validation. They're seeking validation from others when they are the talent. Hey, let's do a talent check. If you know when you operate in your zone of genius that you're the talent, I want you to type in the chat, I am the talent. And it's not being cocky. When you work hard to get to where you're going, you can't allow others to make you feel less than. What you got to do? You got to put those boxing gloves on. Now, I hope there's no boxers on here because they probably say she has the wrong stumps. But guess what? When I wake up in the morning, I'm thinking about I'm going to do a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5 and a 6. And I am going to continue to let the world know what I know and what I don't know. I don't know everything, but the things that I know, I know. All right. So now those were the 10, right? So we got the 10. So the last one was the person that is consistently doubting themselves, second guessing everything. So we talked about all of those, right? And each of these 10 gave you a small glimpse into imposter syndrome and how it actually manifests itself. And when you recognize, and the key, when you recognize these patterns, you can begin to unpack them, understand them, and most importantly, you got to address them. Remember, you are not alone in this struggle, and there are strategies that you can do to overcome them. So let's talk about a few. So number 1, treat yourself like you are a king or a queen. Have the self-love. Embrace self-compassion. And then just remember, you're human. You're going to make mistakes. The second thing is, I want you to challenge yourself to stop all negative talk. I want you to, every time you feel yourself about to say something negative, I want you to put up your boxing gloves and say, I am enough. I am the talent. See, sometimes you're working with leaders. Yeah, I said it. Your manager, your director, your VP is making you feel like you're not enough. And you need to recognize that sometimes it's not them, it's you self-doubting yourself. But other times it's them trying to be big man or big woman on campus and making you feel like you don't deserve to be there. So the next thing is, I want you to celebrate each and every win. Every time you accomplish something, and you don't have to do this in front of everybody. Every time you accomplish something, you're like, yes, I did it. Pat your own self on the back. Treat yourself. When you set a goal, and this 30-minute session is about growth. So when you set a goal and you accomplish that goal, celebrate. If you didn't accomplish the goal, evaluate what happened, but don't spend weeks drowning in the sorrows of the mistake, because mistakes are going to happen, but it's an opportunity for growth. It's not a mistake. My favorite, you got to have a network. You got to have a community. In my upcoming book, Grow With Me, you're going to see me share my community. I did not get to where I am today by myself. I spent a lot of time feeling like I was alone, but I had a community that holds me down. And when I feel like I'm in my breaking point, I reach out to my community. Otherwise, I just stay with these boxing gloves on and I make sure I support me. So now, every successful person has setbacks. I want you to type setbacks in the chat because you got to just recognize every person has setbacks. As an entrepreneur, I've experienced setbacks. And there have been some times that I've sat on this office floor and laid on my face and I cried. And after I finished on my face crying, guess what I did? I got back up and I got into position because I decided that I was not going to let fear hold me back. So now, mindset is something that I believe in. There is a researcher or author, Carol Dweck, Dr. Carol, and it's Dweck. You can Google it. She wrote a book on mindset. And in particular, something that I have embraced is the concept of a growth mindset. When you believe in your ability to learn, adapt, and grow, you're going to see the challenges as an opportunity. I work with a coach. Her name is Ashley Kirkwood. And one of the things that she taught me was that no experience should be left behind. But also, she said, you should be learning faster than you're growing. So that may involve joining a community. That may involve reading. That may involve stepping outside of your comfort zone and finding your people. You need your people. You need people who believe in what you're doing. I read a post on Facebook where the person talked about people in your life that don't see your vision. And so they don't support your vision. But let me highlight one word that's important: your. If you have a vision that you set down and you thought about and you wrote out a plan and you wrote out SMART goals and you're seeing it in your dreams, then you have to put in the work so that your vision will come to fruition. I already talked about self-care. I cannot overemphasize that enough. Meditation, mindfulness, exercise, hanging out with your friends, with your community. And then I want you to celebrate you as a unique person. My internal medicine doctor pointed out one day that each and every one of us, when we're born, they take our fingerprints. Let me say that again. When we're born, they take our fingerprints. Usually, they might take your footprint when you're a little baby. But if you get in trouble with the law, they're going to take your fingerprint, right? Because each and every one of us is a unique being. And so when you are wherever you are, you need to stand up as your best self and tell imposter syndrome, you need to sit outside because you're not welcome in here. So getting rid of imposter syndrome is not going to happen in this 30-minute session. But what you need to understand, it is an iterative process. It is an ongoing process. So practice self-reflection, seek continuous learning opportunities, and most importantly, you got to pay it forward. When you figure something out, don't be selfish and just hold it, for yourself. Pay it forward so that you can uplift others that may be suffering from imposter syndrome. Together, we are stronger. For some reason, there are some people who feel like I'm going to hold everything to myself and I'm not going to share anything. You know how if you're a Starbucks drinker like me, sometimes the people in the line, they pay for the car behind them, right? Pay it forward so that you can continue to realize your wins. My name is Dr. Lisa L. Campbell. It has been such a pleasure to bring to you tonight Banishing Imposter Syndrome. So we got about 3 minutes left, and I'll see if there's some questions in the chat, anything that you want to ask me. I'm going to put up my QR code so that you can contact me if you have some additional questions. And so that QR code will be up shortly, but I'll look in the chat and see what's actually going on. But I want you to just continue to say, I am the talent. 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 Say it to yourself over and over and over again. So if my QR code does not appear on the screen, I'm going to tell you how to reach me. You can find me on all social media channels at Dr. Lisa L. Campbell, and emphasis on the L. And my website is drlisaLcampbell.org. All right, everyone.
We would like to express sincerest appreciation to each one of you for joining us today. If you have any further questions or would like to connect with Dr. Campbell, please take a moment to scan the QR code on your screen. On behalf of Dr. Lisa L. Campbell and the entire team, we want to thank you once again for your participation. We hope you found today's event valuable and wish you a wonderful rest of your day.